morning, everyone. My name is Karla, and you've reached my FlossTube channel, KarlaBeingCrafty, where I talk about mostly cross stitch, but sometimes other crafts that I enjoy and a little bit of life thrown in. Today is Sunday, August 6th. It's my FlossTube number 201. I think last week I was flustered. I didn't even say that it was my 200th FlossTube episode. Actually, I think I've done like 290 videos or something, but that means I have 90 FlossTube extras, not just the regular Sunday FlossTube. So I had one of my subscriber friends, Bonnie, pointed out to me. She goes, "You didn't even say it was your 200th episode," and I say it's the episode number like every time, and I miss like the significant one. But anyway, today is 201. So I want to say welcome. If this is your first time finding my channel, then I hope that you like what you see and want to hit like and subscribe and all the stuff that everybody always tells you to do. It does help to get more subscribers. It helps with the algorithm. It helps, I don't know, it helps in the YouTube world. So if you are watching me, please subscribe as well. I also have a super thanks button down below, which is a way for you to give a monetary thank you. You can put anything, any amount. You can put $5, you can put $1,000. I will take it. And it would be very helpful. So it's never expected, but when somebody does give me that bit of monetary kindness, it is so well appreciated. So I lost my train of thought. Getting older, guys. The weather has cooled off a tiny little bit. Thursday, Friday, it was a little bit lower, like high 80s instead of high 90s. And then it went back up yesterday, and I think it's supposed to be like high 80s for the rest of the week, like dipping into the 90s. So I think the more important thing is not so much the temperature gets up to during the day, but how low it goes at night. And if it goes down to the low 60s, then it's much more comfortable, like in general. Even when the weather goes high, it's when it doesn't get down low enough at night that everything just stays hot. It's been kind of muggy here too, but you know, it is what it is. I have had a very interesting week in a lot of ways, which I will be telling you about. I actually did a lot of crafty projects here, or cross stitch projects. I did a couple other things. Did not do any crochet this week. Did not do any little golden book stuff to show you. But I did get some stitching in, so I think that's kind of good. I think I'm getting my energy back from being sick a little bit. I got a big project done in my apartment yesterday. It makes me feel very good that I got that done. It's something that I had planned to do on my 4-day weekend before I got sick, right? Yeah, so that makes me feel good. So plans today, you know, stitch, relax, get a little bit more work done around my apartment. I woke up extremely early this morning. Well, 5:30. I'm not scheduled to have to get up on Sundays until 7:30 to do my video. But I woke up at 5:30 with a little bit of stomach distress. So I spent the next hour back and forth to the bathroom too many times. And finally, around 6:30, I'm like, okay, I'm just going to lay down again. And I did fall asleep and slept until 8. But I think I'm going to need to take a nap. Got to make up for that 5:30. That was ridiculous. Okay, some housekeeping stuff. Last week, I made a big announcement that my next Zoom is next Sunday, and I said it was the 12th. It's not. It's the 13th. Sunday the 13th. So Sunday is correct. The date is the 13th, and it will be at 3 o'clock Pacific time. Hopefully you can join me. Friday, I believe, is World Cross Stitch Day. So I thought maybe I should do something that night, but, you know, time differences are a little bit harder. You know, if I do something after I get home from work, then it's already, you know, late for you guys if you're on the East Coast. And anyway, I just thought Sunday would be better. So it's in the middle of World Cross Stitch Day and my birthday. So it'll be a good day to Zoom because we have all of those things. I mean, I'm celebrating my birthday, at least mentally. I'm gonna be like 58, you guys. I can't even believe that. Anyway. So, yeah, so mark it on your calendars if you were confused, which I had a couple people contact me and go, wait a minute, you said Sunday the 12th. The 12th is a Saturday. Yeah, it's Sunday the 13th. I also got a message this week from a new FlossTuber. She did her very first video. She said she was inspired to do a video, you know, by me. So, of course, I want to shout her out. I can't remember her real name. Her channel name is Stitchin' and Quiltin'. No G's, so Stitchin' and Quiltin'. And so she had her first video up last week. You know, you gotta applaud anybody who does it, because it's hard. That first video is the hardest one you're ever gonna have to do. And it doesn't matter the outcome of the video, you know, it's hard to do. It's hard to sit down, turn that camera on, and start talking to the camera. After you've done it 3 or 4 times, it feels 100% natural. You know, you've learned things, like she has her camera, you know, the wrong way. You have to learn to turn your camera that way to get your full screen. But you know, there's things you just learn as you go along, and after a while, it doesn't feel quite as stupid talking to your phone. Now I have a window right there, and it's the path. I have a second floor apartment, and the walkway is right outside my apartment, right outside those windows. So when I'm sitting here talking on a Sunday and somebody walks past doing their laundry, you know, if they happen to look in, they might be able to see me. Then I feel stupid, but you know, it is what it is. I'm doing a video. That's like a cool thing to do, right? So anyway, go check her out. Give her a little bit of community love for making that leap and making that effort, because it is hard to do, you guys. Okay, so let's see a few things that happened this week. Oh, this is sitting here and it's driving me crazy, so I'm just gonna say, this is a Kleenex box, right? I keep them. I go through Kleenex a lot. I have allergies. I sneeze every morning. I go through a lot of Kleenex. I always keep the boxes. The bigger boxes are better for me. I use them for the spines for my little golden books. But the reason this was sitting around and I thought I would hold it up, because I was watching Laura's video, Stitching by the Shore. So if you're watching Laura, I was gonna make a comment on your video, but I'm saying it on my video, so hopefully you'll see. She did an extra video this week on starting an artist trading card swap, which I don't know if I'm gonna do it yet or not. I kind of want to. I don't have to think about it. But she was saying in her regular video on Friday that the biggest question she had is like, what do you use to put the stitching on to make the card? And she was talking about cereal boxes or cardstock or whatever. I'm here to say that you guys all have a box of Kleenex. You're gonna run out of it soon. Don't throw the box away, because this is really great cardboard to use for any kind of craft projects. And I think an artist trading card is 2.5 by 3.5. If you have a square box, it's gonna totally fit in one sided square, so there's no folds or anything. So that is my little recommendation to you guys. But yeah, don't throw away your boxes. Just, you know, fold them up, and then they don't take up any space. You know, unglue them. And they're really good for like finishing things. You know, you have a small and you want backing board, there you go. You know, you already paid for this Kleenex inside, so you might as well get use out of the box too. So that was just a little aside tip. Okay, so things that happened to me this week. I had 2 not so great things happen, and 1 pretty cool thing. I went and I had a blood test done on Monday. In fact, today is the first day that you don't see the big bruise. Anyway, I had my A1C test done. For those of you who are new, I do have type 2 diabetes, which is controlled with medication and diet and exercise and all that stuff. But I do take a small amount of insulin, and I take pills as well. But anyway, I have my A1C test done this week, and I am totally within the controlled range. In fact, I am 0.3 lower. My A1C is 0.3 lower than it was last time I took a test, which I think was the end of last year. I was a little late taking it again. But my doctor's pleased because she wants me under 7. And I was 6.3, I think, or 6.6. I don't know. It was 3 points lower than it was last time. So that's all I remember. And I'm well within the range that she wants. She said, when you get over 65, it's okay if you're under 8. But I'm well under 7, so that's good. When I first was diagnosed, my A1C was 13 something. So that tells you that I needed the medication. And one thing I want to say, because type 2 diabetes in general, it's a really hard condition, disease to talk about. There's a lot of shame involved with type 2 diabetes. A lot of times, and this really happened to me, I didn't want to tell anybody when I was diagnosed with it, because the immediate reaction is, well, what did you do to get it? Why? Oh, you don't eat properly, you don't exercise enough, you're too fat, whatever the reasons are. And the reality is that there's a lot of factors that go in, and diet and exercise and all that stuff is one factor that can help, but there's a lot of other stuff. Your body chemistry is going to do what it does, and it's something that you need to deal with and maintain. And there needs to be education with people out there that you don't, that's not the thing to say to somebody, oh, you need to stop eating cookies. I mean, that's not really, true. It's like, I don't eat cookies all day, So my mom had type 2 diabetes. I'm sure her parents did. I don't know for sure, but my grandmother was a very unhealthy person. And, it runs in my family. I don't have any cancer, but I do have diabetes and heart disease. And it's something that I just have to be aware of and work with, So just be aware when people have things, or if you have something, that you don't have to feel shame, because you just need to deal with it. It's hard to learn sometimes. As I said, I had a really hard time telling the people that care about me that I had it, because I felt ashamed that I was diagnosed with it. But, I shouldn't have felt ashamed. Okay, so that was the good thing. The dumb, silly thing that happened on Thursday, I fell out of my chair. Okay, yeah, of course, I fell out of my chair. I was in my office, office chair on wheels, on a mat, and we were doing some reorganizing of the office, and I dropped something, and, I used to yell at my mom because she did this out of her wheelchair a couple times, and I would get mad. I leaned over too far and over the arm of the chair, and I tipped myself. My boss was in the office. It's not a huge office, and it's all all of our walls are glass sliding doors and stuff. But he was in his office, but he couldn't see me because there's a privacy panel that, right in the middle where it's frosted. And I didn't really make that much noise, right? But I'm on the floor with the chair on top of me, and I'm trying to get out from under it. And I was at such a weird angle, I couldn't get out from under the stupid chair. So finally I'm like, Joe, can you come lift this stupid chair off me? And he stands up, he's like, oh my God, what happened? And I'm like, I'm fine, can you just lift the chair off me so I can get up? So he came over, he lifted the chair, and of course I'm in this tiny little alcovey area of my desk, so he's trying to reach around to get it, and I ended up having to crawl across the floor to get up, because I can't just stand up, I have to lean on something. It was so embarrassing. And of course, I didn't hurt myself, but an hour later, all of a sudden I'm like, oh, this hurts here and this hurts here. And I have all these little spots. And then the next day it was yeah, I'm achy. And yesterday morning I stood up and I'm like, oh, my knees hurt. So that was fun. That's a fun addition to my week, to fall out of my chair like a toddler. I don't know. The other thing that happened this week, I don't know if this is a terrible thing or it's just something to take with a grain of salt. I don't know. I told you guys months ago that I had joined an online singles thing, that although I'm not super anxious to meet somebody, I thought it would be nice to just at least dip my toe in, and I'm not gonna meet anybody if I make any effort, yada yada. So I did that months ago. And when I got sick, I hadn't gone onto the site for like 3 or 4 weeks, right? So last week, so 2 weeks ago, I guess, I went to the site. And one of the things about this site that I really don't like is if you're interested in anybody, or if anybody's interested in you and they click on you or whatever the system is, it sends this automatic stupid icebreaker message. And I hate them because there's maybe 10 of them, but I don't know if I get a lot of messages. I don't know what the average is, but I feel like I get several messages a day, new messages from new people. But it's all these icebreakers, and like if you look at them in a column, they're every fourth one is the same thing. So it's like very fake. It's like and it was just irritating me, and I didn't want to just delete everybody because I thought that's not fair or nice. So I composed a little message saying I would love to start a conversation with you if you actually want to send me a real message, and I sent that to everybody. And then I got a couple messages back, and I'm like, wow, that worked. Anyway, long story short, I started talking to 2 guys, and one of them was supposedly in Oklahoma, and the other guy was from California, but he was like overseas. He's a doctor. He was working overseas. So I was texting with these 2 guys, pretty much off and on all week. The guy overseas is like supposedly on a different opposite time frame. So like when it was 9 o'clock in the morning here, it was 9 o'clock at night there. So we're talking back and forth. The other guy, I don't know, he seemed to be getting too serious too soon, and I shut that down, and he calmed down and everything. So I'm just having pleasant texting conversations with these people. So last Saturday, I was texting with the supposed doctor. And I'm already suspicious person. I have to say that in romance, especially because, of what I've gone through with my divorce and stuff like that. I'm very skeptical. And I am not easily swayed. I'm not looking to fall in love at first text. I'm looking to maybe meet somebody that seems kind of like a cool person and that I can get a conversation going with and a friendship. And, if that leads someplace, great. But anyway, so I'm texting with this doctor person, and there's just a couple things that just, I don't know, that made me go, wait, but that doesn't seem right, So I guess my red flag antennas were up. So while we were talking, this is on Saturday night, right? So it's supposedly Sunday morning for him. So I looked up his name, and I wasn't getting anything on his name. And then I looked up, like orthopedic surgeon working in Pakistan or working for the UN or whatever it was that he told me. And I get a thing, I get a list on my phone when I'm looking at this that like all these women that that's a huge scam, right? That orthopedic surgeon working for the military or working for the UN overseas is a very common, typical scam. They often say that they're a doctor. They often say they're working for the military or they're working for the UN overseas. It's a huge scam, right? And I'm like, okay, if this is a common scam, what are the odds that the guy I'm talking to is real? So I texted him. I'm like, did you know that saying that you're an orthopedic surgeon working for the UN overseas is a very common scam? And of course I get back this message like, well, I don't have to justify myself to anybody. I'm like, no, you don't. I blocked him. That's fine. So then the other guy who I'm thinking, okay, wow, close call there. That guy was too good to be true. Oh, and then when I went to work on Monday, now I didn't even know you could do this. I didn't know there was such a thing that you could like do a Google search on a photo, like somebody's profile picture. So I had read, because of course I'm like, oh, it was a romance scammer, and I read about it and everything. And they said, do a reverse Google search on the profile photo, because he was very attractive. I have to say, he was almost like a little bit too attractive, and his pictures were just like a little bit too professional looking. And that was because, yes, they were pictures, they were professional pictures of a British reporter. So he was for sure a scam artist. So you can bet on the other guy. I Google searched his picture, nothing weird came back. So I'm thinking, okay, he's okay, although I'm really not as into him as he seems to be for me. And I was like feeling bad and whatever. And like, I didn't really text him on Monday or anything at all. I can't remember if it was Monday or Tuesday when all this happened, when all this went down. But I had not texted him for a whole day. And then he called, or he texted me the next day. Sorry, I'm wearing a false eyelash and it just felt like I pulled it. Well, if I have a floppy eyelash, that's why. Anyway, so he texted me and I was like, you know, because I was set to say, you know, I'm just not really enjoying these conversations, whatever. But he was like, oh, it's okay, you can't hurt me. And I was like, okay, whatever. Then he said, because he had told me the week before that he was like trying to get this big contract. He's supposedly like an automotive engineer who works on like really fancy cars, whatever. He's trying to get this overseas contract, and he said that he got the contract. I was like, oh, that's great for you. And he's like, yeah, I'm making a delivery right now. I'm in a truck. I'm heading to Salt Lake City. I'm like, okay. And then he says, and I have a favor. And he goes on with like, I need to do some electronic blah, 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 blah. And if you could send me a couple gift cards. So he was a freaking scam artist too. And I was like so pissed. I'm like, because I was sitting here feeling guilty that I wasn't being as nice to him perhaps as you know, he would wish. And he was a scam artist. So I was like, immediately I'm like, asking for gift cards, that's a huge scam. You are totally blocked. And I immediately blocked him from everything and reported him on the website. So that was my big romance story for the week. I was scammed twice. Well, I wasn't really scammed because I discovered the scammers and shut it down within a week. But if you read the stories on there about people that have really been scammed and have sent thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to their supposed boyfriend or girlfriend. Yeah, but just, you know, it's hard enough being single and trying to put yourself out there to meet somebody, and then 2 scam artists in a week. So yes, that was my week. Okay. So now I've talked for 20 minutes. The people who don't like it when I talk before I show the stitching are going to be pissed at me. They've already left probably. Let me get into showing you my crafting stuff. Like I said, no little golden book stuff this week and no crochet, but I did do 2 other crafty type things that I wanted to show you. So the first thing is that I had a piece of red Aida. I have a couple pieces of red Aida like this. It's 14 count red Aida. I've gotten them from, you know, eBay lot purchases, from stuff that people have sent me, you know, that they got at thrift stores or whatever. So I have 3 or 4 pieces of bright red Aida, which I don't have a huge use for. It's not that it's Aida, it's not that it's 14 count, it's just this color I don't have a lot of use for it. It's a very good color for doing Christmas stuff. I don't do Christmas stuff, so there's that. So I had a piece exactly like this, and I thought I would like to try reverse dyeing. So in other words, using bleach to, you know, basically dye your fabric and see what would happen. And so I tried doing that, and I did it the same way that I would do it with Rit dyes. In other words, I wadded up the fabric and, you know, got it wet, wadded it up, put it in a jar, and then I used bleach. Well, first I used bleach water mixture. That didn't seem to do anything. So then I used straight bleach, and it worked and didn't work at the same time. Now this is an iron, so texture that you're seeing is actual wrinkles and not modeling, because I didn't really get the modeling that I wanted. I got a little bit, and I'm not sure. I got a little bit of modeling. So this started out like that. So I kind of want to try it again, and maybe like get it down to maybe a shade higher than this, like maybe that, and then try like splashing it instead of sitting, because wadding it up, that works really well with the dye. A lot of the places stay weight or whatever, and it didn't work as well with the bleach water or the bleach. So I don't know, but it's kind of a fun experiment to try. And I did see if I got more modeling like that, I would have liked it better. If I had gotten a few more places that were lighter and a few more places that were darker, I would have been more excited about it. But I mean, I don't hate it. It turned out to be a nice color and much more usable for me than straight red. So what do you guys think? And you have any experience with bleach? I was really surprised because it seemed like to take so long to pull out the dye. And I remember I had this red sweater that I absolutely loved. And the first time I wore it, it was like cleaning my kitchen after doing the dishes, and I sprayed, you know, a counter spray that had bleach in it, and I got like 2 drops on my sweater and it immediately was bleached. And so I thought it would be really easy, but it didn't seem to be when I did it with the Aida in a jar. So anyway, so that was one of the things I tried. If you have any experience doing a bleach treatment on fabric to change the color, let me know how it worked for you and what you did. And then the other thing is I told you I was going to do this yesterday. I made felted kitty toys. So these have catnip in them. I got this bag of catnip, Kitty City. So I got that, and I felted 3 little toys for Baggy, and I showed him one yesterday. I didn't want to give him to him because he's gonna like destroy them immediately, but he was very interested, so I think he's gonna like them, and I think they're kind of cool. So I'm gonna have to keep an eye on him because he likes to lick his toys, and I don't want him to, I mean, they are felted, so the fibers are, felted in there, but I just want to make sure like he doesn't get a hairball or something from it. That was another thing this week that was a big drama, is that Baggy, I think Monday night, he must have like gotten a tickle in his throat, or I don't know, he probably inhaled a hair or something like that, and he was coughing for like 15 minutes. And if you've ever heard a cat cough, like truly cough, they sound like they're gonna die. So of course that stressed me out, and I was like watching him, and then he was fine, and then nothing the next day, and then the day after that he coughed again. He hasn't coughed for 4 days, so he's fine, and he's eating, and he's playing, and he's doing his normal thing. But I was worried all week that he was sick. But anyway, I made him some toys, so I was a good cat mommy this week. Okay, so now on to de-stitching. I'm not going to divide between new starts and whips because they're kind of all mixed in when I did them, and I don't remember what I showed you last week. So let's just go for it. So I did work on Black Pearl this week. I definitely want to get her done before the end of the year. This is by the Primitive Hair, but I'm doing it with silk. I changed the colors. I changed the fabric color. I don't do stuff very primitive, so this is where I am. I should probably move that needle minder. It doesn't really go. But I'm really liking how she's turning out. She actually is kind of prim for me in that like the skin kind of blends in with the fabric and stuff. It's just, it's not all beige. So yeah. So I still haven't done, like, I haven't put any of the tail color. The tail color is like black, but then there's a lighter color that goes in it as well. So I haven't gotten to that part yet. Okay, I worked on my frog bouquet. which is the companion piece to the frog dancer I did last year. This is another one that I really do want to get done this year. This is my frog bouquet, or frog with bouquet. What does it say? Frog bouquet. And just as a reminder, this is the frog dancer that I did last year. She's so cute. And this is where I am on frog bouquet. So as you can see, I've got the bottom of her skirts and then the top of her legs started. And that, I'm stitching it on an 18 count mask Aida with the kit threads. Okay. This is Ashes, which is one of 4 of the Mill Hill Alley Cats. So this one is Cole, which I did last year. He's up there. And this year I'm doing Ashes. Which doesn't really look like anything yet, but that's the head, and then the paw comes down like this, and this is the first corner. And then the other 2 are Cinder and Smoky. I think when I get this one finished, they're gonna go on the side of that cabinet right there, so you'll be able to see them in my videos. Because I think all 4 will fit. I can start, with the first 2 kind of in the middle of the cabinet, and then, do top and bottom. Okay, Zenia, which is my Bewitching Pixie. I'm doing just her, not the arch thing, because of the fabric I'm putting it on. And then I stole the owl from Minerva to add to this one, because when I do Minerva, she's not going to have the tree and the owl and everything either, because of fabric I picked for her. So I did get a start. So I did do the owl, and then I got to start on her feet. Normally I would start in the middle, but because of the type of fabric this is, and I wanted her placed in a certain place on the picture, I kind of counted. I think I showed you last week that I had marked it with pins, like where she would go and everything, so I knew where the bottom of her foot should be, basically, and started it. So when she's done, she will join her sisters up there. I keep thinking I'm seeing somebody outside my window, and I think it's like I keep seeing this light. Okay, I started my Black Cat birthday style, which I'm doing this bag. So I got this chart, this Black Cat chart off of Etsy from La Selva Design. And I started it. I'm doing it basically, I'm using 6 strands, so I'm taking the 6 strands, dividing it in half, so 3 strands, then doubled to do the loop start. So the thing with stitching on this bag, I guess on any bag, is I have to do it sewing method, right? I can't really pull from the back, so I have to do it sewing method. So I kind of have to do a loop start because it would be really hard to start otherwise. And then I am like doing a loop knot at the back when I finish the thread because, which is a little difficult, but anyway. And I kind of have to do this. In fact, I probably will work on it a little bit today because I started it, I can't remember what night it was. I started it last week, but I can't really put like a light on it like I would normally do. And so it was a little bit hard to see, especially because it's all like black and dark gray, and so seeing the difference in the colors was a little bit difficult. So I kind of need to do it during the day when I have some natural light. Okay, I worked on my green lace mandala chatelaine this week. I did not do very much on it, I will admit. There's the horrible picture. I say that every time, but Chatelaines just, there's just really no way to get a good picture of them. Excuse me. Oh, itchy nose. Okay. So I basically did more of this outline of these onion type shapes. I didn't do that many, as you can see, because that part is boring. So yeah, so I think that that's going to be just a little bit of a chore that I need to get through, get those outlines done, and then I can start doing the fill-in, which is a little bit more exciting but not that great. And then I think it'll pick up as far as my interest in it. Ow, ow, ow. Just stabbed myself with a needle. I really am enjoying this project in general. It's just, you know, I've reached sort of a boring point, and they all have them. You know, they all have that type of moment where, you know, it's more of a chore part, and I'm at that. So, but when I get done with that part, then there's a lot of stuff to do in here. These are the outmost pieces, I think. Let me just check the picture and make sure. Yeah. So these are the outmost things. So they get filled in, of course, but then these corners are pretty intensive, and then there's like some flower work. So it'll get exciting again. Once I get through this section. And I mean, I guess I could, like, you know, do it by quarters or something and not do the all the way around, but I don't know. I kind of like, if it's a mandala, I just like doing the whole all the way around bit, and then, you know, then moving on to something else. Okay. I worked on Mini Flower Kitty. Oh no. Modernist needle minder. So this is Mini Flower Kitty by Jeremiah Kentner. It is one of my full coverages. I really like it. I haven't worked on this in a couple months, so I was missing it, and I really enjoy working on this one. Every time I work on it, you know, I say that because I do. So I got this much of another diagonal done. I might work on this one today too, because I wanted to work on it yesterday and ended up doing other projects, and so maybe next week you will see the diagonal finished. This is a mini, which means it's very confetti heavy, so it is kind of slow going. I'm doing this on a 28 count, 2/110 stitch, which is now my more preferred way of doing full coverages. I really enjoy it. I like that it's tiny, and so the project is not huge, and it is a little bit faster doing the tent, and I think it looks really good. So I'm enjoying that one. I just don't know where that. Okay, let's see. And then last but not least, this is funny because I realized last week, I pulled this out, I showed you guys the picture, I talked about the Misha Berach, and I read you the poem, yada yada. I never showed you the project. And I had started it last week. So now you're seeing actually 2 weeks worth of work, which on something like this is going to be a problem. Yeah, so this is Phoenix Queen by Bella Filipina, and as I said, I'm stitching this as my Misha Berach piece, which Mr. Berach is a prayer for healing. So I'm doing this. I started it in honor of Julie stitching at the cabin's mom, but I'm also just doing it in general as a way to think about all the people who need healing and health and whatever. So that is how far I got. And this is a fabric called Moss Dark by Dying for Cross Stitch. I did notice last time I showed this, it came out, the fabric was much yellower on camera, at least when I was watching on my TV, than it is in real life. It is it's like a dark pea soup sort of color, but it's not neon-y. It doesn't have that highlighter look to it that it seemed to have on camera last time. But I really like it, and I think that the colors are just really gonna pop. I like the reds and pinks on it, but I think the oranges are gonna look great too. And this is a 28 count opal, obviously. And I haven't decided yet if I'm probably gonna do her skin 2/110 because she doesn't have a lot of skin showing actually, so it shouldn't be that hard to do. Because really it's just her face, her chest, and then like her upper arms because she's wearing gloves on her hands. So the part you saw was like right in here. And that is it. That is all of my stitching for this past week. But still, I think I got, a good chunk done. I don't have any haul, except that last week when I was showing you all of those finishing pieces that I got from Kohl's, I was looking around. I don't know if you guys realize that, because I kept thinking I was forgetting something, and I did. I got this box of, it's actually decorative filler, like that you could put in like a vase or something like that. But I got it as a finishing, not sure exactly how I'm going to use it yet, but I'm going to use it, I think, for black pearl. So it's just, these aren't real shells. They're like ceramic, I think. Okay, and I don't... Come on, box. Open. I think there's a sticker. Yes, there is. There's tape. You know what? Oh my goodness. Tape scissors need to be cleaned, apparently. Okay. So there's all different sizes of these sand dollars. I don't think they're real. I mean, they feel real because sand dollars feel like this anyway, but so I think they're really pretty. And so I'm going to do something. I'm going to make a frame in some way with these for black pearl, I think. I still have some other shells left over too from the other mermaid project that I did the whole frame in shells. So I might be able to mix some of those in as well. Although I don't have any like the pretty shells left really. So I forgot to show you that last week. Okay. And that is about it. Plans, keep working on my August project. So you'll see several of these again next week. And then the one thing that I wanted to kind of get you guys' feedback on is I've been thinking about, you know, some ideas for some extra videos. One thing that I was thinking about doing, and, you know, I have to think about it and figure out how I'm going to do it and stuff. I've talked before about how, although I am a good cook, I don't really cook anymore since I'm single, since, you know, since it's hard for me to stand at the stove. I mean, I use a stool in my kitchen to do the dishes and stuff like that. So I've kind of become, my friend called it like a counter cook. So in other words, I use my, I haven't used my stove or my oven. I don't think I've used my oven since before the pandemic. And I kind of stopped using my stove because I don't have any counter space in my kitchen. So I kind of got the glass plates that go over the stove plates, and I use it as counter. I use it as like pantry space. So in order to use my stove, I'd have to move everything off. So I haven't really used my stove in a long time either. So I tend to do all of my cooking in a toaster oven, an Instant Pot, and I recently got a mini air fryer. So that's what I use. So I've thought about doing just a few extra videos on some of the stuff that I like to do using those appliances. Sort of like counter cooking, very easy counter cooking, because if I can't like put it together in like 10 minutes, I don't do it. So I've been thinking about doing that and just doing extra videos just for fun, you know, of, you know, counter cooking, KarlaBeingCrafty in the kitchen. So I've been thinking about doing that. So what do you guys think? Is it something that, you know, I know when I do these extra videos, the number of people that watch them is significantly smaller than the people, you know, that watch my regular videos. You know, I've done tastings and I've done unboxing cat box videos and stuff like, not cat box. That sounds bad. You don't want to see that. Cat lady box. But, you know, and I'll have like 100 people or 150 people watch those, whereas I get like 500 people watching my regular videos. So obviously it's more niche, but I don't care. I have fun doing it, and if any of my viewers are enjoying it, then that's great. So would any of you be interested in seeing, you know, my favorite soups that I put in the Instant Pot? I mean, obviously I'm cooking like for one, so it'll be for one or two. Although, you know, a lot of my recipes, like you could double it or triple it or whatever and still do it and make it for family. I have a wonderful taco soup. It's my like favorite soup to do in the Instant Pot. And I make a very easy Instant Pot split pea soup, and I make brothy beans. So I do a lot of stuff in the Instant Pot that's just like basically dumping stuff in. And it's not like it's hard, but if you don't know to do it, then you don't know to do it. So, and then I thought I would show you guys, you know, what I do with my watermelon to make the rind salad, which I'm telling you is so refreshing. And then this weekend, my obsession is frosted grapes. I'm sure most of you have heard of this. I mean, I had heard of it, I just never done it. And oh my God, it is the best thing I think I've ever had when it's hot. Basically, you just take grapes, good grapes. You know, I like the big kind of hard ones. I don't like when grapes are mushy. You rinse them and kind of shake the water off, but don't get rid of the water. And then you take Jello powder. I use a sugar-free Jello powder, and because the sugar-free doesn't have, it's not as like regular Jello is more like sparkly with the sugar in it, because it doesn't have that. It's, you know, it's using more of a powdery sucralose or whatever it is they're using in it. I take a little bit of a monk fruit sweetener that has the consistency of sugar, and I put a couple tablespoons of that in. So you take that powder, and then you take your grapes that are slightly damp, and you roll them in that dry Jello mixture or Jello, and put them in the freezer and let them freeze for at least an hour. Now I found, because I did it twice yesterday, and they were so good. It's like the best popsicle. You don't want to freeze them too long, because then they get a little bit too hard, and then you have to let them sit for a minute. But if you freeze them for like an hour, 2 hours, it's just, they're like icy but not too hard, and it's like a delicious popsicle candy. They're so good. So good. I'm obsessed. I'm going to get off this video and put in another batch. I've been doing them in small batches, like a serving, again, because I don't think they're as good when they sit longer, although they can. Plain frozen grapes are really good too, but these frosted grapes, oh my God. And basically I put the powder in a little Tupperware, so I'm not, like the first time I did it, I didn't use it all up, so I threw it away, which is dumb. So I just put it in a Tupperware, put the lid on, and the next time I make a batch, I have the stuff all ready to go. And so like the first time I did it, like I said, I threw away the extra. I did that with cherry. That was good. And then yesterday I made 2 batches, and I had it at lunch and I had it before bed. And I did strawberry and orange. So not mixed together, but separate. And both of those were really good too. So I'm telling you, I'm obsessed. When it's hot, it is like so refreshing and thirst quenching, and it is amazing. Anyway, so then my idea, that would be like part of like this cooking whatever. So let me know if you guys are interested in seeing any of like little cooking videos. And then the other video that I had an idea of doing as a FlossTube extra is full coverage, because I did a full coverage. It's actually one of my most watched videos. I did like a demo of how I stitch full coverage, and I thought it would be interesting to talk to you guys about what I do the same and what I do differently, because I did that I think in 2019 or early 2020, and so I've been stitching, you know, full coverages for 3 or 4 years now. What do I do differently? Because it is very different than things I said in that video are not necessarily how I feel anymore. You know, I was like a big proponent of, oh, you have to grid your fabric. I would never do anything without gridding my fabric. I don't grid my fabric anymore. I use much smaller fabric. I do a different stitch. I still park, and I still do diagonals. So, you know, I thought that would be kind of interesting to kind of revisit full coverage and how I do it the same, how I do it differently, you know, what's the same, what's different from how I used to do it. And then it'd also be a little mini full coverage parade of all of my full coverages. So I thought I might do that video too. So anyway, those are my ideas. Also, if there's anything that you think would be fun for me to do as a video that you might like to see, I'm trying to think of little demos that might be helpful. I mean, my 3-strand loop start, that video, I did it, that was my 3rd video I ever did, was that little demo, that like 7 or 9 minute video, and that video gets watched every single day. That's the one video I have that like my nephew is all impressed because I have like, you know, 40,000 views or something of it. And he's like, oh, it's because it's short. Well, that may be. I'm not a short video person. But anyway, so I'm trying to think of something that would, you know, spark that fire, and I just don't know what people would want to see. So if you have any ideas, let me know, and I'll see what I can do. But I think that's it for this week. I thought it was going to be a shorter video, and it's not. I hope you guys are having a great week. I hope that you are dealing with whatever your weather situation is. As I said, it's cooling off a teeny bit here. Not enough, not totally. And I probably need my words because it's going to probably pop back up to the mid-90s next week. But so far, the weather report says it's going to be, you know, 89, 90, which is better than 95, 97, which it was last week. So, yeah, I hope that you guys have a really great week. I hope you can join me next Sunday. Mark your calendars. I would love to see you on Zoom. All the information on the Zoom is in the description box below. And until I see you again, please remember to be content, be kind, and be crafty. This is Karla. Bye-bye.